Hello guys, and welcome back to another Blender tutorial. I know in the last video I mentioned that we were going to jump right into sculpting, but then I realized that I'm missing a very big piece of this entire series, shapes. So we're going to be covering shapes today, um, and I'm going to go over a little design theory with you guys that when you go ahead and design something, you want to start out with the shape of the object, if that makes sense. So, for example, um, if you were going to be making, like, let's say, a fridge, and a fridge is like a rectangle. Um, so you would start out with a cube, obviously, and then you would essentially scale this, or you scale it on the Z until it, reflects the shape of a fridge. Um, Maybe scale it on the Y a little bit too. Yeah. And then you'd continue your model to make it look more like a fridge. But that's the idea of modeling. You'll want to start out with a shape, a common shape, and manipulate it. Okay. So let's go ahead and delete the default cube here. We'll go over some of the default shapes that Blender hands to us. Um, and in order to do that, there's two different ways you can access the mesh screen. You can head up here and hit add, and you get this nice menu here of all these different things that you can add into your world here. You can add some different meshes here. Add curves and all these different things here. You can add text to your screen. Um, let's see here. I add an image reference or a background. I'll go over the difference between them. They're very similar. There's just one really major difference. This is a little plugin I added. It's very handy for certain things. You can add extra lights extra cameras. Add a speaker if you want audio in your animations. And force fields are really neat for making like physics animated um, animations. Yeah. So we're gonna go back up here and go to mesh. We have a couple different meshes available to us. We can make a plane, which is this like flat rectangle or square rather. Um, we have a cube. This is the default cube that's applied to us. Let me just move this over so we can see everything. We got a circle, just like this circle here. They give us this UV sphere. It's like a ball. And let's see here. We got icosphere is very similar to a UV sphere. It's kind of made up of these like triangles, and you can modify it when the settings pop up, and I'll show you that in a second. We have cylinders, good for making like cans or glasses. We will be making like a glass or bottle in a tutorial very soon, so it might actually become your very first Blender model if you're just starting out. And let's see, we have a cone. And lastly, the torus, which if you followed any of the Blender Guru content, you able to make a donut over there. And this is the starting point of it. So these are all the basic um, shapes that you're given in Blender to model from. But you don't necessarily need to start with these. You can start completely from scratch as well. Okay, so let me create a new file here. And we'll go over a little bit on how to model. Let's do the little glass example I mentioned. So like I said earlier, we'll want to use a shape that's similar to a glass, and that would be the cylinder. And if you remember, you hit tab to go into edit mode, and 3 to access face selection, and we want to select this top part. Now I'm actually gonna turn on my keys here because I completely forget to do that each time. Alright, so we're just gonna make like a little basic cup. I just want to re-jog your memories and whatnot. So you hit I for inset, and you generally want to make it like I guess, yeah, small-ish little ledge here. And to see things better, I'm going to go up to this wireframe viewport shader option. And from here, I'm going to hit E to extrude, and I'm just going to move the mouse down. And you want this to be not quite going through the bottom, but just a bit above. We'll go back to the solid mode here. And we can see that we have this shape that looks exactly like a cup almost. Some cups have a smaller, radius bottom. So what we do is we hit S to scale. We just bring it in a little bit, and you'll notice that the other part of this has also it's sticking out the sides, and we don't actually want that. So once we click on this, we're going to hit S, and we're going to scale that in as well. So now we have this. Now this actually looks a lot more like a cup. Okay. So not too bad. We're going to press 2 to go into edge selection mode, and we're just going to we're going to hold Alt and click to select around our object here. And I'm going to hold Shift and click the inner part as well, and it's going to select both of the inner and outer of the edges on top here. I'm going to hit Control B, and it's going to create a bevel. You want to be very light with this, just so subtle. And we create this like beveled round top here. Yeah, I think that looks good. Next, we probably want to get rid of these lines here. And a really cool, neat little trick is right-clicking it while in object mode, by the way, hitting Shade Smooth. Now, it shaded it pretty good, but now it looks kind of weird, doesn't it? It almost kind of looks like there's just tons of shadows everywhere. And the way to fix that is you head down to this Object Data Properties panel and go to Normals and check off Auto Smooth. Now not only is the lines gone, but it looks more realistic. Cool. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a little plane in here. And if you want to go into edit mode, you can hit S and then let's say 2, the number 2 on your number pad, and it'll scale it up by 2 times. Now you can move it down here if you want to try to get that in the right spot. That doesn't look too bad, but there's also options where you can snap the object to a certain point. So that snaps it like incrementally. I think what we want, we'll try edge. We'll see if edge works. We'll snap them to the edges. Okay, so that's exactly. So it snaps it to the closest edge it can find, and this is the bottom edge of the cup. And so now they're layered at the same point. And I'll just make this a little bit larger. We'll say, why not? Size it up by 3. Alright. So now, I'm going to, let's see, I think I'm going to just add some color to our piece here. And we actually add, well, we go to the rendered mode here in the viewport shading and go back down to the material properties and click on, well, let's make sure we're in edit object mode, and we want to select the cup first, and we'll access, hit new for the cylinder. Under base color, just choose whatever color you want, whatever you think looks the best. This is a pretty nice blue color right here. And do the same for the plane. Maybe we might want like a brown table. Nope. Alright, so I'm just gonna kind of make this look more like a table. I'm gonna extrude it down with E just ever so. And so it looks like a, yeah, looks more like a table. Cool. Alright, so now that you know that you can add shapes using Shift A, and you can manipulate those shapes with our edit tools by clicking and hitting Tab, we can modify our shape here or use the shortcuts. In the next tutorial, I'm gonna be going over actually adding some textures to our model here. So if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date, and give this video a like if you learned something. Thank you very much, guys, and have a great day.